Here's the DJI Mini 3 Pro drone, an external charger and two spare batteries. It has a remote control with a built-in LCD. That's the drone itself, is ultra light, 249 grams. DJI RC, that's the name of this type of remote. The older remote control was DJI RC N1. That's the size. It is a foldable drone. It records 4K HDR videos, not available in 60 frames per second. It shoots larger resolution still images compared to the Mini 2 drone. It can rotate its gimbal and thus it can record vertical photos and videos also. 12 km full HD resolution video transmission for that remote control. 3-direction obstacle sensing. It has sensors in the front, in the back and below. Intelligent features, active track, master shots, hyperlapse. Here you have a QR code also. That's the other side. To get the drone you have a USB-C cable, manuals, one single battery. The light version, the ultralight, has this text on the side. The heavier battery, which has more capacity, does not have any text on that side. You get spare propellers, you get the remote control with the display, and you get a screwdriver, DJI Care Refresh. There's a seal here. Green one is inside. That's the box. We have this special thing here. DJI Fly app, video tutorial, user manual, scan me. So we have the drone. It's larger than Mini 2. It has some weight. It's not that light. We have some cables. USB-C to USB-C cable, DJI Fly app, remote control stuff, quick start guide, 4 propellers, 2 here and 2 on the other side, A and B, a screwdriver, Phillips head, star, share the skies, know your drone, safety guidelines, remote control and drone. It has paper holding elements. It is thicker compared to the Mini 2. Larger propeller blades, as I see. Nothing happens. The battery is inside. Charge to activate the intelligent flight battery before using the first time. It has LEDs, USB-C and micro SD card. That looks like a heatsink. Sensors. They look like tiny cameras. Motors are quite small. Remove before use. That's the remote control. By the way, that's a male and you have to attach the female part. That's a touch screen, just like a phone. Power button, it shows 2 LEDs. There's an additional LED for the connection with the drone. Some screws, host, micro SD and USB-C. So there's an additional USB-C here also, and the micro SD card. It's pretty thin, like a finger or so. A heatsink. Buttons. Let's remove these. This is female. You cannot push them in. They spring back to the center. Click button. That also snaps back to the center. This button has 2 stages, 1 and 2, just like a photo camera. You halfway press it down to focalize and press it down once again to take a picture. So video and picture. Antennas are here. Maybe that's a speaker. Rubber on the side. Click buttons. 2 more screws there. No, these cannot be mounted there. Both of them are female. RM330. This charger is pretty small, as you can see, but it's thicker compared to the Mini 2. It's pretty thin, so don't abuse it. Jumps back to the center. It's not free to move on vertical axis like FPV drones. Same here, it jumps back to the center. So it's a two-way charging hub. You can introduce power there in the center, and you can get out power there on the right side for 3 batteries. These are the batteries. Here we have some specifications. Two-way charging hub. The connectors this time are on the bottom, and the Mini 2 they were somewhere on the top. Status LEDs, 12 volt and 3 amps, 36 watts, CHX16230. It's not in one line. Now that's very silent. USB-C for powering this, and out for getting out power from the batteries. This is the light version, 249 grams. Drone plus battery plus card, less than 249 grams. And that's the battery of the Mini 3 Pro, ultra light. By the way, this plastic thing has to be bent all the time when you introduce it and remove it. These are the legs, the landing pad of the drone, the rear, and that's the front. When you introduce them, you have to lift them up. Notice it's not going that way from the motor, it's not coming this way because of the leg. You have to bend it a little bit, and then it stays there. We have to charge the battery. The battery is visible inside here. Those are the down facing sensors plus 2 more here. We have to lift it up a little bit, and it enters into those 2 openings where we have 2 more black LED like looking things. So the front is held by that one, and the rear by those 2 cylindrical shapes. That's the gimbal cover. We have a lot of nylon here. That's the gimbal. Remove before use. It's sticky. That is also sticky. Some more soft thing below the gimbal. Soft foam. Now the gimbal is freely moving. It can look even backwards. So it's sitting on the camera because of these nylons. And how high it can look. Almost 90 degrees. At least I can move it that way. I'm not sure if it's moving itself electronically that high. In order to attach the ND filters, you have to move this front side, rotate it, twist it. So it's rotating to the left and to the right, that much. It's rotating down, it's in contact. If it's looking totally down, it will be in contact. It can look almost backwards. Look at that. It's looking that way. Okay, and up. Almost 90 degrees, it's looking that way up. There is no leg or antenna pointing down, which would block the other arm, so you can open both of them. They open different manner. This one comes down, but the other one comes towards you. It's spring loaded, and it jumps there. So one rotates down, the other rotates sideways. So you can open those arms in any order. First the rear one or first the front. A tiny screw there. By the way, it does not stay on horizontal. So this leg is slightly down and that one is slightly up. Both of them are tilted forward. And that's good because when it's flying forward, the back is not raised too much, because to stay horizontally it should be somewhere like this one, but it is already twisted that way. It can fly faster forward without the backside hitting the air too much. Now let's see. This doesn't do anything. Now let's remove the battery. You have to press in those two. Can I do it with one hand? Yes, I can. It's pretty lightweight. What is inside? Plastic on the bottom and electronics on the top. The cable is visible here, which comes from the arm. Some codes there also. You can see your finger there. Now let's introduce it, see what will happen. You cannot introduce it in the wrong order, because the connector will be on the right side, whereas there it's on the left side. It does not enter there, but there. And nothing, no LED. Large click sounds, no power. Now let's open the third one also. Some technical specifications, 6 connectors. Will this do something? Nothing. Now let's connect a USB-C cable, which is pretty short. There. Let's just connect it for curiosity to my computer. Oops, USB-C. So I cannot use that one because that's USB-A. But what I wanted to see is, will this computer be able to power these batteries? Because the PC does not give too much amperage. It's not quick charge. And it is doing something. So at quick charge 3 you have faster flashing LEDs, but now we have slower flashing LEDs. Now let's try this one from my smartphone. This one is flashing much faster. Meanwhile, let's charge the remote control on the computer. This is flashing faster because it's receiving more power from this one. Can I power it on while it's charging? Short press, long press. And we have DJI. So you can power it on while it's charging. Chinese text. Let's choose English. Next. Terms of use, privacy policy. What happens if I tap on disagree? Agree to DJI terms of use to activate your device. So without that I cannot activate it. It has a back button. Information we gather from you. Information we collect. How we use the information we collect. Country, region. Next. What if I don't connect it to the internet? Let's see. Next. No network connected, unable to continue activation. So you need internet in order to activate it. Connecting to Wi-Fi. Next. Time. Next. Log in. You need a DJI account. I typed in a username and password. Activate. Product improvement project. Not now. Welcome. Swipe horizontally from edge of screen to return to previous screen. Left dial adjust gimbal tilt, right dial camera zoom is just a description. Record and shutter, those large buttons. Return to home, that one. And brake, that one. Switch flight modes, that's the speed. Sport is faster, normal, middle speed, and C cinematic, that's slow speed. Custom 1 and Custom 2, those two buttons on the back of the remote control. That color, solid red, aircraft not connected, solid green connected, solid yellow, firmware update failed. Status the same LD, blinks blue, linking with aircraft, blinks yellow, blinks because these are solid. Blinks yellow, low battery warning. Blinks cyan, control sticks not centered. Blinks red, smart controller temperature too high, aircraft battery too low. So from there you can know if the battery of the drone is low. Transmission distance, adjust antenna position so the antennas are on the top, so point it towards the drone. That's the drone, that paper airplane. Go to DJI Fly. Fly as you are. Initializing resource. It's similar to a smartphone inside this remote control. Now we have a video. The speakers are on the top. You can block them with your finger. Information authorization. Will it work if I don't authorize them? Authorization required for the app to run normally and cannot be disabled. DJI collects the following information to ensure normal use of related functions. Whatever. How do I fly the aircraft? Where should I go for my first flight? How do I fly safely? What will that do? Opens a browser, nothing. Next, if you already have a DJI aircraft, follow our instructions to explore a whole new world. Okay, profile. We have some settings here. Firmware update is there. Check for firmware update. Checking version. New firmware. Let's just cancel it for now. Back. By the way, you can swipe down. There's the internet. You can disable the Wi-Fi. It has Bluetooth. It has airplane mode. Usually phones have airplane mode and that blocks the phone function. Mute. Now it's not making any sound. Unmute. Now it's making click sounds. Record doesn't have a memory card in it, but the drone has some built-in memory. The drone is not started. We have the third LED now. Let's see, record. Insert or format SD card in remote. New remote controller firmware available 800 megabytes. So record requires an SD card. Screenshot. Insert an SD card. I guess this screen will be recorded. Mobile data. Interesting. Where do you put the SD card? SIM cards. Can I insert a SIM card here? Connection guide. Instructions. Unfold. Camera view. Let's give it internet. Wi-Fi. Now let's download the remote control firmware update. It's already the fourth LED. It's asking for permissions once again. Next. What data will you share? Not now. Trying to locate me. It cannot locate me inside the house. You can modify the screen brightness from here. And speaker volume. It's flashing the first LED. Now it's blue. How much power is drawing? 5 volts, 2 amps, and it's flashing slowly. Interesting because it's quick charge 3 and it's flashing slowly. Now that's funny. Let's try a standard one. 5 volts and also 2 amps, 2.2 amps. It's also flashing slowly. In case of quick charge it should go up to 9 volts or 12 volts and it doesn't. Let's try that one also. It's using its original DJI cable, that one, and it's also at only 5 volts and 2.4 amps, 6, and it's using the USB-C output, but it's also flashing slowly. So my phone charger is much better. This is even a little bit better compared to my other cable. 2.7 amps at 5 volts. With the phone's cable, it is flashing quickly. This gas station, although it's quick charge 3, is not really compatible with that one. It's charging it slowly. It's charging my phone at pretty high amperage, but not that one. This should theoretically charge even at 12 volts and 1.5 amps, but instead those batteries were charged only at 5 volts and 2.7 amps. By the way, you can see through these batteries. The top portion is kind of empty. It's full of air, not full of battery. And the 3 batteries are fully charged using this charger, 25 watts. I have to use an adapter, super fast charging. And it's fully charged, all the LEDs go out. Now let's see how can we disconnect these batteries with one hand. Just push in and it's out. Now that's much easier compared to the Mini 2. Now just insert the battery and that should show how well it's charged. Fully charged. And fully charged. They go out. Now let's unfold it and try it for the first time. The text towards you. A big click. But the gimbal is reaching the bottom. Short press, long press. LEDs. Gimbal is moving. Now that's interesting. Now let's power on this one. Short press, long press. I never started this drone yet. Now this starts up much slower because it has an operating system on it. Device is starting. So you have to wait for this to gather GPS satellites and this to start up. Activate DJI device. Aircraft is automatically bound to remote controller after activation. Agree. I need internet even to bind the remote to the drone. Wi-Fi. Restarting aircraft. LEDs and propellers move. I use the same DJI account for this drone as my Mini 2. Now let's see if the Mini 2 will still work after this was added to that account. New firmware available. Close this one. Let's see if it works. New DJI firmware available. Don't install it yet. Just go fly. SD card unavailable. My hand is in front of the camera. Image is dark. Okay, no SD card yet. Now it's brighter. Can I make it even brighter? Oy. Yes, I can. So it was down at the minimum. That's the lowest. It's kind of low here inside. What did I do? I started recording accidentally and it is recording. And that has to use the internal storage of the drone. It has a little bit of storage, around a gigabyte. Okay, and let's see. Center down. Check propeller installation. They are installed by default. They came that way in the box. Unfold the propellers. Do not show again. Let's see again. Yes, it works. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth automatically disabled. Red lines. There is something behind it and in front of the drone. Let's see inside. It turns it off. Down and outside, or down and inside. They both work. They start and stop the motors. The side of the drone is pretty warm. Now let's take a look here. I'm going to press this button, the C1. Press it again, it's looking down. It's looking forward. And with this wheel, look how up it can look. It's looking almost vertically up. Once again, that C1, it's looking down and it's looking forward. And the other C2, is rotating the camera. "90 degrees. If I already started video recording, it is recording, then will it rotate the camera? And the answer is no. You have to stop the recording. Now press the custom 2 button. Camera is rotated and only now you can shoot again. So you need to stop the video recording in order to rotate the camera. Recording is stopped. Now the camera can be rotated. Now let's see how much time is needed for starting up the drone and the remote control and start the motors. So I'm going to start this one, that one. It was not fast enough. We have to remove a few seconds from there and we have image. So around 30, let's say 5 seconds, half a minute is needed to be able to power on the drone and fly. Now what will happen if I turn off the remote? The drone turns off also. And here's a foil from a smartphone. Let's see if I can add it onto that display against scratching. And I have a bubble in the center. There is some dust on the screen. And when the screen is on, although there are bubbles, for example here is a big one, they're barely visible or not visible at all. So the brightness is quite good. I still have to remove a layer of foil. This is a matte foil, it's not a shiny one, but against scratching it's more than okay. It's it's pretty funny and ugly when it's turned off. Bubbles can be pushed out if there is no dust, but there is some dust. Now the remote control is connected to the computer through the USB port, and we have DJI RC here in File Explorer. It says 3.8 gigabytes. So the remote control has 3.8 gigabytes of space and 2.2 are free. File system generic hierarchical flight record DAT cache, nothing interesting. Power source battery unreadable, so you have to connect it and you have to power it on also. Connect it to the computer through the USB-C and short press, long press. Setting up a device, unknown device. It says USB drive 1.5 gigabyte in size. Let's call it DJI Mini 3 DCIM 100, and we have some videos here, MP4 files. So those were recorded by the drone and it is stored on the drone itself. GPS coordinates should be inside this one. We have SRT files also. Let's just delete those. Oops, now we don't have the coordinates, so they are stored separately in SRT files. So in 30 you have 100 megabit and in 60 frame per second you have 150 megabits at 4K resolution. Aircraft sitting for extended period, powering down, wait until it cools down. So it is almost that hot that I cannot hold it here on the side. The top is not too hot, but the sides are very hot and it's powered down. From the drone through USB, I'm moving my files with 37 megabytes per second. Not a huge speed, but it's okay. Battery and drone are overheated. Battery is not charged. Only the last LED is flashing. So here's an MP4 video which was captured by the drone. It says 60 frames per second and 150 megabits bitrate. 150 is more exactly codec information HAVC 150 megabits. That is H.265. If you use H.264, then this video would be the equivalent of 300 megabits. So that's a very good quality. Let's take a look at the gimbal while the drone is powered. Notice the gimbal is looking straight to the left. And as I move it, it is still looking to the left. The drone is almost on vertical and is still looking to the left, so it cannot rotate itself completely to vertical. It goes up, okay, to the other direction. It's on horizontal. It's at, the drone itself is at, let's say 45 degrees, I'm not sure, and then it refuses. It is working on the z-axis, vertical axis also. As I rotate it, notice it's not rotating instantly, but with a delay. Plus, of course, this way. This way, the angle is not too great. Let's say the drone is at 45 degrees. Camera stays level, horizontal. And then it refuses. The other direction, it refuses faster. It's not on horizontal. Around 45 degrees. It's not on horizontal. And it completely refuses. Now let's press the button on the back. It rotates the camera 90 degrees and the angle is even less. It's already not on vertical. To To the right is better, much better. It refused. So to the left it does not stay on vertical too much, but to the right it does stay on vertical even more. Now let's power off the remote. That does not return to horizontal. Power off this one and it remains there on vertical. Power it on again. TTT, and it returns to horizontal. By the way, inside there is foam. That also keeps it warm, doesn't help dissipating the heat. The sides heat up a lot. DJI Mini 3. Hazardous moving parts, 7 volts, 2453 milliamps, 18 watt hours. So there it's blocked, you cannot see out inside there. This remote control has a slower memory card in it. It's just class 10. You can barely remove it. So it is class 10, that's the 10 inside that C, and it is U1. U3 might be faster, and it doesn't accept it. It's 32 gigabyte. It's not good enough for it. It said insert a faster memory card. This remote control has pretty high standards with the pins down, and you need some longer fingernails. Nothing sticks out. You can barely introduce it and remove it. This is a matte foil on the screen. As you can see, the light is somewhat reflected here on the side, but not on the screen. Unable to use remote controller SD card. There's an exclamation mark. Remote controller SD card speed low. Unable to use a high speed SD card. Storage. It uses Android 10. Audio on phone. It thinks this is a phone. It is U3. It's 64 gigabyte. So that button is pressed very easily. I should put something here to keep the distance so that the button would not be pressed. The card has to be inserted with the text up and the pins down. I did not press it in. No notification. And SD card, it was instantly detected. Tap to set up. Your SD card is ready to use. You can move content to SD card. Done. There's the SD card sign. Explore, eject. That is on the SD card. I think it was empty. Select all. Delete. Okay. 62.19 gigabyte. Screen recorder. Expose sensitive info during casting recording. Passwords, payment info. Start now. It is a recording. My fingers point is there. Screen recording can be stopped from there. Can be stopped from here also. 11 flights. The drone was used just once. Connection guide. Camera view. The drone is not connected. Let's stop it. Storage. Internal storage. Photos, videos, 0 gigabytes. Here we have something. Now this is the video which I did before. Back. So I accessed it by swiping down, wheel, storage, internal storage, photos, videos, 0 images, and there it is. Now let's check the batteries. I inserted one battery. Both of them are started, so I can tap on go fly. Of course the propellers are not extended. I'm not going to fly anywhere. Come here to the three dots in the upper right corner, and on the safety page go down to battery info, and battery cycle count 0, so that's a totally new battery. Now in order to remove the battery from the drone, I need to lift that leg up because the button is under it. So notice I cannot access it. Now I can remove the battery. The drone was not stopped. It's on the same page. So that's with the gimbal. Gimbal is reaching the bottom. It's green. It's not yet available. Let's go back. Battery info. And this is 0 also. I have two 0 batteries. Gimbal. It's not making noise this time. Also not available, so go back. Battery info again. And it says 0. So none of them were completely discharged. So all three are reported as 0 cycles. The remote control is connected through the USB cable to the computer, and now DJI RC, the remote control, is showing the internal storage 3.8 gigabytes and the memory card. That's a 64 gigabyte card, but it's always less. So I have two videos here on the remote control, but when it's connected to the computer on the SD card there's nothing, and on the internal storage I have TXT files, DAT files, and nothing. Now the memory card was removed and it's in that card reader. And now on removable disk we have totally different things. We have Android stuff and we have movies. Now here we have the two videos, 10 megabytes and 41 megabyte. They are 960 by 540, 0.8 megabit, 10 frames per second. Now this one is 29 frames per second, so it uses probably variable frame rate. It has sound. The drone does not record sound, but the remote control is recording sound. Although there is sound information, you can see the video and the audio, there is no sound at all. So probably it doesn't have a microphone. So here's the DJI Mini 3 Pro's remote control, and it is returning to home by pressing that button. And I cannot control it left and right. The Mini 2 after a while could be controlled. I could look backward if I wanted, but with this one, at least at this firmware, I cannot rotate it into any direction when it's coming home. That should require a firmware update. I should be able to look anywhere and it still should come home, and it's not working. Now when it's landing, now I can yaw it left or right, but when it's coming home it's not available. Now it is available. Now it's charging quickly. LEDs are flashing in a fast manner. 9.2 and 2.78 amps. Using the USB-A, it is flashing slowly. 1.8 amp. Ignore this is the battery voltage. And just 5.2 volts. So the USB-C to USB-C cable is faster. Use the USB-C port here and C there. Plus it also depends on your cable. Not all cables can transfer enough amperage. Cheaper cables transfer less amperage. More expensive cables usually transfer more amps, more current. Here's another thing. I just created two videos with the drone, and here are the specifications of those two video clips. In the first clip there I used the H.265 codec, and the second clip I used the H.264 codec. And usually the H.264 creates double file sizes compared to 265, but look at the file size. Only 2 megabytes is the difference. The H.265 is 122 megabytes and H.264, the worst codec, created 124 megabytes. Both clips are 10 seconds long. Same frame rate, same resolution, megabits per second are slightly different. H.264 created 2 more megabits per second, but the file size is highly similar. The remote control is using the charger of my smartphone. Look at that fast LED flashing. If I use another cable from my computer, then it's flashing much slower. By the way, you can switch between horizontal video and vertical video only if you stopped the video recording. So if it's already recording, it stays in that position. You have to stop recording and then you can switch to vertical. You cannot record and rotate your camera. Firmware update of the DJI Mini 3. Let's go here to the upper right corner, 3 dots. Come to the About tab. And here we have aircraft firmware, check for update. Fly safe database, check for update. Let's use the aircraft firmware. Checking version. New firmware is available. Tap on update. 209 megabytes. Update. By the way, the internet was started by swiping down and enabling that one. 4 megabytes per second. Now it's installing it at 40%. After a while the drone should restart. The LEDs should stop flashing for a while. Now it's flashing in a different manner, much slower. Now a bit faster. Now it's continuously lit. 82%. Propellers are moving. That sounds like a restart. 85%. Only the 2 middle LEDs are flashing. The ones on the left and right sides are off. First LED is flashing only. All 4. Now we have red. Do not exit the DJI Fly or disconnect the device. The drone is getting warm on the side. That was the second restart, I think. Firmware installed. The drone is off. Power it on again. Now let's wait until both of them will be connected. We have the Go Fly. It is seeing my hand in front of the drone. About. Check for update. Firmware is up to date. Fly safe database. Update that also. Update successful. That's much faster. And it's not restarting either. Fly safe up to date. Aircraft firmware up to date. That remained on bypass. Fly sideways, it is disabled, so it kept my settings which were used before. But as I see, not everything was kept. Here at camera, I used D-Scene like last time and I used H.265 last time, so the camera settings were modified. If you are recording in 30 frames per second, then the 3 dots and camera at coding format, you can select which codec to use. You can select H.264 and H.265. Let's set it to 264. And if I modify the frame rate, let's say from 30 to 48, and then at the 3 dots, you have only H.265. So H.264 is not working with more than 30 frames per second. Only 265. Set it to, let's say, 4K 60. 3 dots. Camera only H.265. Set it to, let's say, 30 or 24. 3 dots. And now you have the option of 264 and 265. it heats up and it gives you a message that it will turn off and let it cool down. But if you replace the battery, you can use the drone once again, although it is hot. So what is heating up is probably the battery. This reports that is too hot and it forces the drone to turn off. Replace the battery and the warning is gone. The drone is started and it also creates a Wi-Fi network. So if you use a phone and enable Wi-Fi, long press it to see the networks. DJI Mini 3 Pro is there, so people can see you even through Wi-Fi, that you have a drone nearby. Let's power off the drone, and DJI Mini 3 should disappear after a while. And it's gone. Power it on again, and it's back. Both the drone has a memory card and the remote control has a memory card. And if we go here to the preview, below the record button, then we have two files here. The one on the top is on the drone's memory card and the one on the bottom is on the remote control's memory card. So both of them can store data and it's shown in the same place. What are these SRT files next to your MP4 videos? Well, these SRT files contain the GPS location of that certain video, of that one, because the name of this one, 38, it's exactly as the name of this one, also 38. So the 39, since it does not have an SRT file, this does not have GPS coordinates in them. So if I open the 38, the video file, the MP4, it will read the GPS data from this file. If I start that one, it will not read any GPS data. So I'm opening it with Media Player Classic Home Cinema MPC-HC. Okay, and here we have the latitude and longitude information. Of course, I'm inside the house, so that's why they are 0. But if I start the next one, 39, it does not have any information. You can also enable or disable that GPS information, more exactly the subtitles, with W. So W inside Media Player Classic Home Cinema is enabling or disabling it, but currently it's not doing anything because this file does not have it. If I start the other one, it shows it, and if I press W, notice it's enabling and disabling it. Now the memory card was inserted into the drone, and if I go here to the three dots and go to the camera tab, here you have video subtitles. You can enable it from here. It will create an SRT file and you will have the GPS location data in that file. But if you disable it, it will not create the SRT file and the GPS location data will not be in the video either. So the DJI Mini 2 inserted those coordinates inside the MP4 video file, but the Mini 3, it's not inserting it to the video file, it is creating a separate SRT file. So if you disable it, you will not have any data where that flight was done. The Wi-Fi name is mentioned here, the three dots, about, and Wi-Fi name, DJI Mini 3 Pro. Now on the phone is also shown in a different manner.